Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you loved and trusted? What if I told you the Bible holds an ancient story that describes exactly that, with details eerily similar to what we live today? Imagine this. You're the youngest in the family, loved by your father, rejected by your brothers. Joseph didn't ask to dream, but his dreams disturbed. He dreamt of his brother sheaves bowing to his. He dreamt of the sun, moon, and stars bowing before him. Innocent? Maybe. But in a world where any difference creates conflict, envy moves faster than compassion. His brothers couldn't stand him. First, they planned to kill him. Then, they chose something even more cruel: to sell him, like an object, as if he had never been of the same blood. And Joseph cried, begged, but no one listened. Today, the cistern takes new forms. It may be emotional exclusion, silent contempt, digital betrayal, or the indifference of those who are supposed to protect. How many people are living what Joseph lived today? Betrayed by brothers, friends, leaders, co-workers. And the hardest part, not by enemies, but by those inside the house. Joseph gives us the raw image of betrayal. It wounds identity. It questions your worth. It screams inside the soul. Am I disposable? Centuries passed, but the story repeats. Today, Joseph wears a suit. He smiles for the camera, but cries inside. He was betrayed by co-workers, fake friends, even religious leaders. The betrayal has changed form, but not essence. It may come through a leak of trust, a friend who talks behind your back, a relationship with emotional or physical infidelity, a company that fires you suddenly after years of dedication. Today's sale doesn't involve silver coins. It shows up in likes, broken contracts, destroyed reputations. And worse, we live in an age where betrayal has become content. It becomes a post, a gossip, entertainment. But for those living it, it's not a show. It's pain, it's grief, it's the death of trust. And Joseph, no family, no support, no home. He was taken to Egypt. Unknowingly, the betrayal that wounded him was actually guiding him to the center of his purpose. Here comes the turning point. Joseph didn't let pain define him. Even in Egypt, he chose to serve with excellence. He chose to trust not in men, but in God. He was wrongly imprisoned, slandered, forgotten by those who promised to help. Yet even in prison, Joseph remained upright. Can you imagine? Being jailed for something you didn't do and still believing that God has a plan? Joseph teaches us something almost forgotten. It's not the environment that defines who we are, but our choices in the midst of suffering. Every tear was soil for a new stage. Every injustice a key to bigger doors. And when the right time came, God exalted Joseph. From the prison's depths to Egypt's throne. But Joseph's greatest victory was not his position. It was forgiveness. When he saw his brothers, those who betrayed him, he had all the power to take revenge, but he chose to heal. Because someone healed by God doesn't return pain. He returns grace. Time passed. Years of silence. Years in which the brothers believed their son was dead. But God had lifted him to the leadership of a nation. Famine struck the land, and the brothers, hungry, came to Egypt seeking help. They stood before Joseph, but didn't recognize him. What would you do if you were in his place? Would you seek revenge? Would you take justice into your own hands? Joseph could have destroyed them with a word, but he chose something revolutionary. To cry. He wept upon seeing that God's purpose was being fulfilled. He wept, realizing that forgiveness is not weakness, but the greatest strength one can have. Joseph didn't just offer grain. He offered reconciliation. He fed those who had abandoned him. This is true healing. When you return love, when you once received rejection, yes, suffering changes people. It can make you bitter or more like God. Joseph learned to interpret dreams, but more than that, he learned to interpret life. He understood that pain wasn't loss, it was refinement. He realized that his brothers weren't his enemies. They were instruments in God's plan. And you? Have you ever thought that what hurt the most in your life may have been exactly what God used to prepare you? Nothing in Joseph was wasted. Not the crying. Not the prison. Not the betrayal. Everything was part of the furnace that shaped him. Joseph's story is not just an ancient narrative. It's a mirror. Maybe today you're in the cistern, or trapped in past wounds, or facing the ones who hurt you with the power to strike back. Remember Joseph and choose to forgive. Choose to grow. Choose to trust that God never wastes suffering. The Bible doesn't hide life's drama, but it reveals that even amid tragedy, there's a greater plan unfolding. You are not alone. And your story is not over yet. Because with God, even betrayal can become a throne. Even rejection can turn into revelation. Now pause for a moment. Close your eyes and think. Who is the Joseph in your life? The one you betrayed. Or maybe you are Joseph, hurt, forgotten, wronged. What pain hasn't been healed yet? What forgiveness hasn't been released? How many dreams have you shelved because of a cistern? How many promises did you stop believing because of a betrayal? Joseph didn't become who he was despite the pain, but because of it. Are you willing to let God turn your pain into purpose? Your humiliation into honor? Your story into testimony? If this story spoke to you, if it touched wounds you've hidden, or made you see your past with new eyes, like this video. Share in the comments. Have you lived something similar to Joseph's story? And send this video to someone who needs healing, someone who needs to rediscover purpose in pain. Subscribe to the channel for more biblical stories revealed with depth and emotion. Because here, every chapter of Scripture comes alive, and every pain finds new meaning. See you in the next video, and never forget, your story is still being written.